Hi everyone, welcome back. We're gonna go over Wednesday's strength training. So you're gonna start off with another activation exercise, okay? We did this either last week or the week prior. So you're gonna get a band. You're gonna think about pushing your hands into the band and drawing the elbows inward, okay? The goal is to keep a straight line from shoulder, elbow, and wrist. So I don't wanna look for this, or when we come up, the elbows rotate out, right? My core is nice and tight. I'm not overextending or losing that. Trying to finish with my arms behind my ears. Again, I'm constantly drawing my elbows inward and pushing my hands into the band. It is not going to be easy to do. It's going to help and focus on your lower traps to activate them. So if it's difficult and you keep shrugging up, this is an exercise you're going to need to do more often, okay? The goal is using those lower traps, not your upper traps. So let's do a few more good reps, right? Especially up here, the higher we go, the elbows are gonna wanna turn out. Your job is to keep them drawn in and not let them rotate out like that. Okay? That's gonna be 4 sets of 12 reps, and you're gonna use that as part of your warm-up to activate your upper body for the overhead presses to come. All right, moving on to our overhead press. This is gonna be 6 sets of 2 reps. So we've been progressively getting a little heavier. All right, I'm gonna get ready for my front rack position. I know it's an overhead press, but we're still focusing on screwing in the feet, core is tight, chest is nice and tall, and I wanna think about pulling the bar apart. That's gonna help me create more tension and more activation in my upper body, okay, especially in those lower traps. So I'm gonna think about getting my head out of the way a little bit, so it's a little bit of back and up, not only this, okay? We don't wanna leave it forward, we have to go around. So it's a little bit back and up. And then once I've passed my forehead, I do wanna get my head through. So I can finish with my arms behind my ears. Once again, that is 6 sets of 2 reps. Okay, moving on. Our next couple of exercises is going to be bent over front raises, okay? So I'm gonna be bent over. I'm trying to be, keep my back flat like a table, so not too high for this one, so really be bent forward. As long as your back's not rounding, so find that position. And we're gonna go front raise. I'm gonna keep my hands just even with my shoulders, so I'm not gonna go too wide on the way up or too narrow. I'm gonna make sure I'm not using momentum, right? Not one of those, keeping it strict. I'm gonna go as high as I can, as long as I'm not shrugging into my neck, okay? So if I need to stay as light as possible to make sure I'm not picking up with my traps or my upper traps, I wanna make sure I'm using my lower traps and I'm maintaining that position as we move up and down. All right, so these are good reps. These would be bad reps, all right? If you need to do it with no weight in order to use the right muscles, do it with no weight, no problem. This is gonna be 5 sets of 12 reps, okay? So a little bit more on the lighter side for this one. It's gonna go a long way. Are you guys ready for some dancing? So here's what we got next. You're gonna be supersetting your bent over front raises with some karaoke, okay? Or if you wanna call them lateral sled pulls, all right? So I've got the band somewhere around my waist, and literally karaoke, we all should know what that is, right? So I'm gonna go one leg in the front, and I'm gonna go that same leg in the back. So front, then this goes back, front, and then it goes back. I'm gonna go all the way to the basketball hoop facing one direction, and I'm gonna turn it around. I need to face the same direction, because if I turn around completely and if I face this way, I would still be going in the same direction as I took it, all right? So again, first I was leading with this side. Now I need to lead with this side when I turn around. Again, putting that around my hip. This leg is gonna go in the front now. This leg is gonna go in the back, front and back. Okay, as far as what weight to choose, you should just feel like your glutes and inner thigh is being activated and working by the time you get over there. It doesn't need to be the heaviest thing where I have to like lunge and like do a big pull or a big yank with my hips. right? I want to stay steady as I walk. Yes, I'll be leaning a little bit in the direction I'm walking towards, but not to the point where I have to manipulate my walk, or like I said, I'm all over the place, or I have to be jerky with it. That's going to be 5 sets, 50 meters. So you're going to go 50 there, 50 back. Finishing off our Wednesday's workout, you're going to start our last triplet with banded, a different version of banded overhead press, okay? So I do want the band maybe a little bit above my forehead, okay? I do not need a lot of pressure, meaning I'm not really going to yank the band that far back. This maybe feels like 3 to 5 pounds, just taking out the slack out of this, okay? You're gonna need a lighter dumbbell. You're not gonna be able to push the same as if you were doing like a standing overhead press with this one, all right? So I just need enough tension where my arm is behind my ears as I would be pressing like normal, right? So I'm pushing into the band. Of course, we've talked about not using our upper traps, pulling the traps down, keeping that engaged. All right, if I can't pull this band back, maybe I need to go lighter, or I need to step forward a little bit more. Because for this one, like I said, I want the arm at least even with the ears, or as close to that as possible. It could be slightly behind. This is going to be on the lighter side also. This is going to be 5 sets of 12 reps per arm with this one. And making sure that we're not pulling it back by arching our back, pushing the hips forward, or opening up our ribs, right? My ribs are closed down, core is tight, not using my upper traps. Okay, supersetting that single arm overhead banded press. You're gonna go 5 sets of 10 reps with a barbell bicep curl, okay? This is a 15-pound trainer bar. We have 3 total on that side, okay? 1 on the CrossFit side and 2 on the weightlifting side. You are more than welcome to go grab that, okay? So again, this bar starts at 15 pounds. So I'm gonna think shoulders back and down. I'm standing as tall as I can, core is tight. I'm just gonna curl up. For this one, I want you to think, get those arms almost all the way straight, or all the way straight if they can. I know sometimes the legs might get in the way. And then if you watch me from the side, I'm gonna make sure that my shoulder to my elbow stays in the exact same spot for this one. All right, so locking my posture in, notice that's staying in the same spot. All right, now in order to control this from moving around, that's where our lower traps come into play, okay? If they're not activated or I'm not thinking about it, you're going to move the elbow forward, or when I come down, see how my elbow scooted back? Now my shoulder is pointed forward and I'm in this rounded position, not in this position. So in order for me to get my shoulder blades back and down, I don't want my elbow to pass my body, okay? So let's go through that again. So good reps. Some bad reps. All right, I'm letting my upper traps take over. Again, this is 5 sets of 10 reps. Our last exercise of this triplet is going to be barbell skull crushers, okay? With the bicep curls, I just pretty much grabbed wherever my arms hung down by my side. And then with the skull crushers, it's gonna be roughly in the same spot. It can be in the same spot, no wider. If anything, it can be there or closer together, okay? So I'm gonna get a flat bench. And again, skull crushers, right? Think of the name. I want to bring this to my forehead every time, okay? And the same idea of my elbow to my shoulder not moving, okay? That is what we wanna keep. So shoulders are packed tight, using my lower traps. My core is locked in, bringing that to the top of my forehead, right back up. I'm looking straight ahead, but I can tell in my peripheral vision, did my elbows do this? Did my elbows do that, right? We clearly see that I'm moving this part of my arm. So if I bring it to that same spot and I'm looking straight ahead, watching my arms, that'll at least be a good guide that I'm keeping my arms steady, okay, versus coming down through here. So focusing right to the top of the forehead every single time for this and getting a good lockout for this one. This will also be 5 sets of 10 reps.